Hello, beautiful soul. So today I want to continue with the chakra series. And today is about the throat chakra. This is a chakra that is very special to me because it's one of those energy centers that I work with the most when I'm doing healing work. And I believe we already address a lot of this, the throat chakra importance in different videos. So I'm going to try to keep this very short and discuss some things I may know, like may need to be addressed just to ensure that we have a pretty good idea of the throat chakra. The throat chakra is one of those energy centers that it is very much connected to your own power. We know the solar plexus is about the confidence and all of that, but if we can know, I see it as if we can know, express, and be in our own power, communicate, be authentic, this energy center gets very compromised to the point where you will notice symptoms immediately. I remember one time I was many years ago, I had someone in my life, and this person was a narcissist, and that's why when people say I am with a narcissist partner, I know what they're talking about because I've been there, even though it wasn't for a very long time. I clearly saw the symptoms and what happens to the victim and what happens with their reaction in all the dynamics. I know what it means. So this person was being very like a dictator, like he was just, it was his way or the highway. And I remember I started, because I couldn't say what I wanted to say at that moment because we were in public and I didn't want the kids to hear the interaction. I remember scratching my throat to the point that it got like a rash. And I was just furious and I was ready to but I couldn't because I was in public. I didn't feel like it was the right approach. When I got home and I saw myself in the mirror, this whole area was inflamed to the point I had a rash. I had like different little bumps throughout the whole throat area. And I was like, wow, it took me like a week to get rid of the rash. Anyways, why I mention that is because it's immediate. Sometimes, especially if it's when you feel the energy is being stolen from you, when your power is being diminished, when you cannot be yourself, when you have to hold it in, you're going to notice that this energy center, you can develop thyroid cancer, issues, whether it is high thyroid, low thyroid, it doesn't matter, right? It gets to the point where a lot of people cannot breathe because it's obviously related to the lungs. Or you will notice, I'll tell you another little story about what happened to me in one of the recent podcasts that I am doing with my colleague, Janelle. And I'm going to share that experience because I want you to see how when we are going through our healing journey, and it doesn't end because the healing journey, as long as we're alive, it doesn't end, right? So, but I wanted to show you that even those people like myself that are already working and have been doing healing work for others for many years, we still go through things that we wonder why we do it. So anyways, the throat chakra is this energy center that has so much power. You can help someone and help them go through their own healing journey by the things that you do with your throat if that throat is activated. And the way to release that energy will depend on what type of energy is being released, whether it is for yourself or for your clients. It could be burping, yawning, you could be releasing the mucus, you could be vomiting, you could be, obviously the breath is very important. So the way that you're breathing is going to make a difference in all of that. And that leads me to what I wanted to talk about. What happened to me yesterday yesterday or the day before, I can now not remember. We were doing a podcast and I kind of wanted to hype up the person that was sharing that we were interviewing to the point where I kind of lowered my power and I said some things that I pretended that I didn't know. Some things in regards to what they were talking. And immediately I started feeling like very unauthentic and like a liar. So you see the inflammation in my lungs and my throat coming out with the mucus, right? Well, that's because I pretty much lie, and I felt like I was not being authentic because I wanted someone to be looked up as more than what the person was giving us in the interview. And I realized that by me lowering and by me saying that I didn't know some of the things that they were talking about and making it seem interesting, that I compromised my energy. And then this is the result. And you can see that the throat chakra is the energy center that I work with the most when I'm doing healing work. So immediately was compromised because I wasn't being authentic with myself. I wasn't being authentic with them either, because I was putting myself in a way that was in a lower light in order for somebody else to look better than what they were giving us in that interview. Anyways, point is immediate. Sometimes what we do will affect this chakra whether we see it or no. Now, the more that you work with yourself, the quicker you're going to be able to identify, oh shoot, I compromised myself. If you're not very much aware of yourself, it can take you years. And that's how the lungs and the throat cancer comes through, because people don't realize that they're doing it for many, many, many years. When people are holding in so much anger, so much frustration, so much pain, suffering, this area is very compromised. So it is one of those energy centers that, of course, all the energy centers we have to pay attention to. When we are a healer, though, we tend to use this energy center to communicate, to help our clients understand. If you're doing any type of ceremonies, any type of plant medicine, any type of hypnosis, anything where you need to communicate with someone, whether it is through art, dance, or whatever it may be, you have to give instructions. This center has to be properly aligned, and it has to be in synergy with what's going on with the heart and the mind and everything else within your body, right? So it has to be, it's a synergy work. It's like a movement. It's like a dance. So if it is compromised, you are going to, number one, you're going to hear what is not being said, and you're going to say what you don't want to say. For example, if this energy is compromised, you might notice that people are reacting in a negative way to things that you say, because what you're saying is not really what you want to say, but the way that it's coming out is almost like chopped off. Like you want to say magical things, but you say okay things because you just don't know how to express in a way that is more in alignment with what you feel and believe. If you're dealing with difficult relationships, whether it is with parents, siblings, neighbors, work, of course, this energy center is going to be compromised if you're not expressing yourself, if you're holding in, if you don't have a channel to express what you're feeling, if you don't have assistant to get you to say what you have to say so that you don't keep it in. Because when we keep all of that, those thoughts, emotions in, what we're doing is that everything within us is very compromised, especially the throat, because we're not communicating, we're not sharing. When we don't have a soul tribe, we also have the same problem because we want to be able to share. It is an energy exchange. When we're not sharing energy, a lot of those thoughts and emotions are being kept within us to the point where we're protecting ourselves so that there is no energy exchange. And when there is no energy exchange, this energy center is almost like keeping everything in, but it's not going out. And it is important to have at least one friend that you trust to assist you express that energy, because the energy has to be expressed. If you have a group of friends and you meet often, you will notice if they're in alignment with you that you feel so good after because you're sharing energy, even if it's just holding space. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything, but just the fact that you're holding space, whether you believe it or not, you're exchanging energy. It might not be recognizable to the human person that is sitting next to you, but their higher self is picking up what you are sharing up here. So immediately, if they're good at holding space, you're going to feel like, okay, I can breathe. So it is about not only obviously about the breath work, which is vital life force energy, but I'm talking about what happens when it's compromised, or when you're working through, like if you're in a session and you're yawning, if you're in a ceremony and you're yawning, burping, you're breathing in a different way, you might be completely, of course, vomiting, spitting. There's so many ways that the throat chakra assists us to express and release energy. The other ways is through the lower part, through the private parts, whether it is urine or number 2, right? Whether I'm not going to get into the number 2 because you know what I mean, whether it is diarrhea or very hard, depending on how it comes out, it's going to show you how much energy was stuck. Like sometimes when you do plant medicine, it comes out very soft because the energy is already working to like move the energy in a way that is taking those hard number 2s and nodding them so that it can come out softly. But sometimes you'll notice that after that, if you're not paying attention to if you're paying attention to yourself, you'll notice that the poop may get in a way that is very hard because something needs to be addressed. Okay, we're not going to have a conversation about number 2 because we're talking about it. But if it comes out through the throat, it's going to come through spitting, vomiting, yawning, burping, taking those breaths that you normally don't take because it has to be, the body is going through like a synchronization and it's teaching you new things. What else? It could be that you're working with someone that you might be working on yourself or others, but the way that you start tapping into what you're doing within yourself, you have to pay attention, because sometimes what you will notice is, okay, I'm going into meditation and I start yawning. That could mean that you're going in. If you start with a question like, what is it that I'm resistant to? And I start yawning, it might be because, yeah, there is a block, but I'm not paying attention to where the block is. So you have to pay attention to your emotions in that moment. What do I feel? Where is that feeling? And when you start yawning and going deeper, then you're going to go deeper into trance. And then when you start the burping, it's because the energy is nodding to the point that is being released. Okay, I think that's enough for that. So the throat, if it's compromised, of course, you're going to have issues with your throat. You're going to have issues with breathing from here, but not from down. You might be having issues with thyroid, low, high, lung cancer, lung issues, even back of the neck issues. We spoke about the back of the neck chakra in a different video. I'm going to link that video to this video. So underneath, you can see more information about the back of the neck, which is different than the throat chakra. They have different functions. However, without breath, we cannot live. So if we are not alive in this body, right? If we don't feel like if there is dissociation, not only the heart, but the throat is also going to be in compromise. Because in order for us to feel really good about being here, and this is one thing that I noticed with a lot of channelers and a lot of people that have very powerful psychic abilities, we love being up there in the higher centers because that's natural to us. When we start working on the heart chakra, you're going to be more present, which is the goal, because we're here, right? In order for us to help others, we have to be here. If the heart chakra is compromised, most definitely the throat chakra is going to be compromised. You could be really good at public speaking and still have a compromised chakra, because it's not just about being able to speak, but about being able to speak and be authentic with the ultimate consciousness of who you are, the ultimate being of who you are. So some people that are very good at public speaking and that they're very good at writing books and expressing themselves, they will still have things that may compromise this center if that's not in alignment with who they're becoming. And that's why their spiritual awakening journey can be very traumatizing, because now I'm going from being X person and I identify as X person, but now I'm becoming the Y person or the C person or the A person, and that's completely different. So now all of who I am is changing, and we're hiding things. We don't want people to know that this is happening. Oh my God, I'm going crazy. So this energy center automatically is compromised when we're trying. Like I had a very compromised throat chakra because I was in the closet for many years. This center took a long time and is still going through many major activations. So we're not perfect, of course, right? But what I'm saying is this energy center, especially when we're going through spiritual awakening, will have a lot of issues because we're trying to find out who we really are. And when we're trying to do that, there is also a lot of things that we don't want to say to others because we don't want them to think X, Y, and Z. What else can I share about the throat chakra that may be interesting? I think I'm going to leave it here. I did a video on some revelation that I received about the mouth chakra and about how there are portals in the mouth that take us to different dimensions. You might want to check that video out. Why is this energy center is so important? Because this is a reality where what we say and what we think creates our reality. And what you're saying, thinking to yourself, and you're expressing is what you create, right? And sometimes you don't even have to express it, but you are thinking, feeling those things, and therefore you're creating those things. And sound is one of those things that are so important to this reality because it's basically everything has a sound frequency, right? So our words have a very special sounds. Everything that we say have a sound frequency. Is that frequency in alignment with being present, connected, feeling good, feeling joyful, or is it in misalignment? Is it in alignment with all the things that you don't want to create, but you're creating because that's what you're saying and thinking to yourself? So this is the energy center that I see as to me as a healer, is one of those energy centers where, shoot, I really need to get this in balance and be always checking with myself. Am I doing things in alignment with who I am now, who I want to be now, not with who I was 20 years ago? That may be different than who I am now, is what I'm saying. So you're going to ask yourself those questions. The throat chakra obviously creates the sounds. So you might want to check that video as well about the sound. And there is some more information about those lectures in the Awakening the Healer within video program. So I'm going to leave it here for now, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for being here, and have a beautiful weekend.